Hey everybody, it's a rainy day today, so I've got a little project I'm doing, and ironically that project is going to start us off out here in the rain. So I went out not long ago and I collected up some rocks for the fish tank. It was a spur of the moment collection, so I didn't shoot any video for it. At least I didn't shoot any YouTube video for it. I did shoot some video that went over onto my Patreon page. So you should check that out if you're interested. I do shoot a lot of behind the scenes and little exclusive videos that only go to my Patreon page and never make it to YouTube. So if you're interested in that, you should go check it out. But what I did was I brought home several rocks, and today we're going to start preparing them, and I want to talk about how we're going to prepare them, and we're going to get a look at them sort of in their raw state, and then how they look when we're finished, because these are going to clean up really nicely. Meow, hi baby. That was Squeaker. So we've got some decent shapes. They're all nice and flat. Don't forget, if you follow along and have for some time, when I reconstructed my angelfish tank, all those rocks I took out of there I kept. So I've got a lot of the more square, bulkier rocks. Now I've got a lot of these flat rocks that make for good, cave structures or the tops of things. Dividers, they block lines of sight. There's all sorts of things you can do with these nice big flat rocks. So the way we're going to prepare them today is I'm first going to soak them in some just regular old water out of the hose and some hydrogen peroxide, and that's going to be more to get them clean physically than sterile. What we're going to do next, after I've got them sort of cleaned up, is we're going to go put them in the oven. And I want to talk about that a little bit because it can be dangerous. It doesn't happen very often, but rocks can actually sort of pop or explode if they're heated the wrong way. So what happens is water that's inside, or moisture I should say, that's inside the rock, if it heats too rapidly and expands, if it boils away and there's nowhere for it to go, that pressure can cause chips or chunks of rock to fly off and burst off. So heat it slowly, and don't really heat it up that much. I put it in the oven for about 20-30 minutes at about 200 degrees. That's more than enough to sterilize it, but it's not hot enough that it's actually going to cause any popping or cracking or anything like that. You're not really even going to get the water up to a boil, even if it is inside the rocks, but it'll certainly sterilize it. So a little word of caution there: don't stick rocks in your oven and then put it on broil for half an hour and crank the temperature up as fast and high as you can. That's not necessary. I suppose I should have opened this before I started the video, because that is a tough seal there. There we go. So I'm just gonna load this up with hydrogen peroxide. This stuff is cheap enough. It's 88 cents a bottle, so I'll put half a bottle in here, which is way more than enough to kill any sort of microbial life that's on the surface. You can already see the suds and foam starting. So I'm going to let that soak for half an hour or so, and then I'll come out. I'll just give it a good blast with a hose to knock as much physical debris off as I can. Then it'll go in the oven. Once it comes out of the oven, after I've cooled it, we'll hit a little scrub brush on it or something. Maybe we'll just hit it with the hose again. It'll get dirty enough once it's in the tank. And we will talk about the tank later, because I'm not exactly sure which tank it's going to go in yet, but it will be going in one of my tanks. So hang on a minute and we'll see what this looks like in a little while. Alright everybody, here is the finished product. I probably could have scrubbed everything down a little more thoroughly, but I have learned over the years that doing that really doesn't pay off once they've been in the tank for a little while. What I think of as the biological patina tends to grow back after a while anyway. So I'm not a geologist. I have no idea what's in these rocks or what they're comprised of chemically, but I'm guessing that that's mica that has all that little shiny sparkle in there. You can see the backside is much more stained. That's probably tannin stains, believe it or not, from being down on the leaves in the mud. I'm assuming this is the side that was facing up. But there's some pretty good looking rocks. Now, I say this is the side that's going to be visible, but the rocks are probably going to be something like this or this. So how visible is that face going to be, in the tank? And again, the tank is still up for question. I'm not exactly sure where these are going to go. I've got two options depending on what project I apply these to, and probably what's going to happen is some are going to go in one place and others are going to go somewhere else. So you can see once again the back side of this, or the bottom side, is very much dirtier than the top side. So I've got this little small one. This one is wafer thin. And then this one, and that's actually the dirty side. That's the more attractive side. So there you go. I did it just like I said I was going to. I preheated the oven to about 220 degrees, and then I lined it with foil just in case any dirt or crud or anything fell off. I didn't want it at the bottom of my oven. And then I just set the rocks on top of the foil and left them in there for about 45 minutes, and then turned the oven off, and then I actually took a nap. And when I woke up from the nap an hour and a half later, the rocks were still warm to the touch, but they were cool enough for me to be able to handle them. And then I brought them down here and I ran them under some cool water and scrubbed them down. Again, I used to use a wire brush and really put some serious elbow grease into it and work up a sweat. Now I use this. It gets all of the physical debris off. It really does a good job at cleaning it up without really cleaning it up. Again, if I put some wire brush onto this, you'd be amazed at how gorgeous I can get this rock to look in just about 10-15 minutes. But it's 10 or 15 minutes of serious scrubbing for each of these rocks. And again, after a month in the tank, you can't even tell that I had done that. So I'm just not really going to worry about doing that anymore. So there you go. Make sure you're subscribed to my Patreon channel. If you haven't been over there, you'll get some behind the scenes look at all this kind of stuff. I do shoot video over there that is for Patreon only. I don't bother to put it here on the YouTube. It's a lot of chat videos and some more of the behind the scenes stuff. Again, I did shoot some video while I went out and collected these rocks out at George's Creek. So if you go check out the Patreon page, you will be able to see all of that stuff. Otherwise, make sure you are subscribed here to my YouTube channel, and then that way you won't miss anything that I've got coming up in whichever tank this stuff winds up in. Again, we've got 2 potential choices right now, but those are projects for the future, so make sure you're subscribed, and that way you won't miss them. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.